Isn't that just the stock Super Saiyan effect? No. Flame on! That's my index finger, not my middle one. Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh overview. Today, let's take a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Fantastic Four Retro Series Human Torch. Oh, it's crazy. Fantastic Four isn't the highest up on my list when it comes to favorite Marvel teams, or families, whatever. I always enjoyed when they crossed over into comics that I did read, like X-Men, but I never read a lot of actual Fantastic Four comics. But you guys know me, you throw a good action figure at me, I'm interested. Well, it's not like I don't know who Fantastic Four is, but it feels like we've been trying to build that team forever. We've had a lot of figures come close, but with Human Torch, it always seems like, at least personal preference-wise, that they didn't quite reach what I was looking for. So I'm hoping this will fill that spot. Looking at the package, it's what we're used to with some of the retro lines. It has the graphics. Was this the 90s card back? What caught me off guard with this, though, is the size. This card back is every bit of 13 inches. That's quite a bit taller than some of the other retro cards we've gotten from Hasbro. In fact, that's pushing that deluxe scale. Almost. It's an inch or so short, but not near as wide. On the back, we get that same picture that is featured down here on the front, except it's pointing the other way. Bio for the Human Torch, all the other figures in this wave. Legalese barcode, but let's get this open, see what's going on here. It's also not as easy to open as back in the day when it was just a blister attached to the front of the card. This is actually sandwiched in between two pieces of cardboard, so you have to cut Johnny out of it. Plus, you guys that retain the card backs, this is probably a better way. Getting it out, messing around with it, digging into the finer details and the options available here, I feel like this is the closest I've gotten to a Human Torch in action figure form that matches up to the middle image in my head. I actually like the slight translucency more than I thought I would. It makes me think that there's a core of fire here. Calm down, I know it's plastic, but let my imagination soar. I mean, if you get right up on it and get a light source behind it, you can see the parts and pieces to it. And now that I'm doing this, ooh, some LEDs installed inside would be awesome. The Human Torch. It kind of gives it an ethereal feel. I mean, you're looking at it, but you're also looking through it. It's like distorting your brain somehow. This is a good mix. It feels classic-y, but it can also work as modern. Now, this body has been used several times. When people think of this body, they usually think of Scarlet Spider. But for me, appropriately enough, I think of Sunfire. I actually can't remember who came first, but Sunfire's front and center on my giant size X-Men shelf, so that's the one my eyes go to every time. And it's a good body. The muscles are bulbous in places. They kind of stick out at you. But I like that it's different than the Captain America body that we've seen many a time over the years, almost too much. And I especially love how it integrates the butterfly shoulder. It's just amazing for figures like this. What I don't like are the duck feet. They're just really long and they spread out really wide. And for some reason, when you line up the musculature on the legs, well, not so bad on the right side. On the left, you kind of get the foot pointing in. And there's no way to fix that unless you turn it at the boot, which on a bare body like this, you're actually breaking the shin and the calf muscle. There's 4 black lines here, some at the thighs, out here on the shoulders, coming down to the bicep, and then down the chest. Nothing on the back. I'm glad they put those on there because, again, that just takes me back to Human Torch of my childhood. The forearms are a reuse of the last Human Torch we got. Was this the last Human Torch? I can't even remember. It's so orangey and bright now that I have this one. It's the same flame sculpt on the forearm, on the hand. It seems a little bit muddled, almost not as sharp, but I think that's actually the paint on top. And then again, same thing on the other side. And for the heads, I didn't even realize this is also reuse. That deep translucent red and the dark orange does a lot to change it up. And this is going to sound weird, but I think my favorite thing about this figure is the metallic gold in the eyes. Oh, well, here's some black stripes up here too. I didn't even realize those were there. But the eyes, it's almost like a molten core. You know what I mean? It just feels hot. Or maybe that's me just projecting my own wants and needs on it. There's a slight cocky grin to it. The eyebrows are kind of lost in the red, but I'm okay with that too. The ears are so thin. Well, okay, maybe there's not any red in that ear. This one's the same way. But once you back away from it a little bit, that doesn't even matter. Now that I've brought this torch out, I kind of feel like there should be some yellow to this too. If we go by the package, maybe some yellow could be at the base of these flames working into an orange, it would have made it look a little bit more fiery and less gummy. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because realistically, this is plastic trying to emulate flame. It's not going to look perfect. It's just a good, naked, with a few flames here and there, Johnny Storm. Going over articulation, there is a ball at the top of the neck going down to a hinge that looks all the way up. Whoa, all the way down. Lots of room for that ball in there, so ooh, tilt. Swivel. Butterfly joint goes way forward, goes way, way back. Just those 3 points of articulation makes for a kick-ass flying pose. Outside of that is a pin going into the shoulder, rotates all the way around. Hinges up, swivel at the bicep, double elbow. For some reason, this older body, it's not cut up very high into the bicep, so you get to about right there, which still isn't bad, but it's not all the way. Swivel at the wrist, hinge in and out, ab crunch goes forward, back, swivel at the waist, ball coming out to the hip, goes forward, goes back, out, swivel at the thigh, double knee, oh, so close. Rotation at the boot, or what should be the boot. Hinge at the ankle goes back, forward, and then front-facing pin for rocker. For accessories in the package, there was the shoulder piece, but I took it off, well, and then forgot to put it back on. Peg hole in the back, no peg on this. It just sits on the shoulders. And that looks good. Kind of asymmetrical, may bug some people. The flame comes out further on the right. I'm okay with it because fire is unpredictable. Well, maybe not when you control it. Maybe he wants it sticking out like that. I don't know. It does kind of flop around. If you get crazy with it, it will fall off. But once you pick a pose, put it up there. In the package, he comes with a right fist and then a spread out left. Both of those have flames sculpted onto the back of the hands, but those do pop out. Then there's two plain fists, no fire to them. Those are for these flame effect pieces. There's actually two of them, and it's always been a mystery how we're supposed to use these exactly. But they make a good wrap going up over that arm or coming around. You just twist it on there like this. Fire is going up his arm. Or you can turn it around and have it kind of shooting out if you want. Just however you get them on there. If they work, they work. But there is some customizing potential, or well, swap options if you have the Marvel Select Human Torch. This is way too big to use in your Legends display, but it does have parts that you can use on your Legends figure. There's these two hands, left spread out. It has the fireball shooting out of each finger. And then the right is also, well, it's spread out but grippy, and it has one big fireball. The pegs do fit, but it's a loose fit. It will fall off. So I may wrap something around there or try to thicken it up with some floor polish or something else. Give it a little bit more grip. The left hand is the one I really want to get working. It's kind of heavy, so it's just going to droop. But yeah, I think I can fix that. And then the head is a little bit large, but when it comes down to it, I prefer this. But it also comes with a Jim Hammond head, or original Human Torch head without the facial features. And I don't know if it's because of those missing features that it actually works. If you pop this head off and pop this one on. Now I did have to Dremel the hole bigger to get it to pop on like that. That's not bad. The translucency and the shade of the red is a little bit different than the body, but you'd never notice on a galloping horse. It also adds a little bit of yellow to the color scheme. And since this torch doesn't have the 4 on the chest, yeah, you could put this in an Invaders display or something. The Marvel Select Flame Base is pretty badass too, with the rotation and the hinge at the bottom, but the ball up here is way too big to fit into the hole in the back. And I never liked Torch having flames from there anyway. What I need is for somebody to 3D print a platform or a base that'll plug in, have the feet like this, and then a bigger hole to plug here. Because this would look pretty awesome if flames could come out that way somehow. Size-wise, Human Torch stands at about 6 3/16 to the top of the head and 6 5/8 to the top of the flame, which will work with Marvel Legends. That was never in question. But because it's fairly plain, it'll work with any version of the Fantastic Four you want to shove them into. So at the end of the day, best Human Torch so far. Fantastic Four being what it is, I feel like this isn't the last we've seen of Johnny Storm. They were away from the limelight for a little while, but they're coming back in a big way. Of course, they're going to make movie figures, but I kind of feel like they're going to keep chipping away at those classic looks too. Because really, nothing is ever perfect. There's always more versions to be made to appeal to more people. This one's super nice, but there's always improvements to be made. Saying all that, this is my main display torch now. It gives me those retro flutters right here somewhere. I may grab a couple more of these for customs, do some yellow flame on top of it, have another one for my original Human Torch now that I have these select parts. There's just fun to be had, and when it comes down to it, that's my favorite thing about this hobby. It just means something unique, for the shelf. That's what really puts a smile on my face. But I know that's not for everybody. Some people just want to buy it, keep it in the package, hang it up, which, oh, beautiful presentation here. Or you want the company to get it right in the first place and put it in your display. In that aspect, get you a Human Torch. If you enjoyed the review, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus if you're interested in seeing videos early or in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. And yeah, this is not the most dynamic pose for the end of the video, but I don't know, there's just something about the way I think of Johnny Storm. He's just gonna be standing there looking like a badass. I kept going for those acrobatic poses, which this figure can do. And it looks right, it just doesn't feel right for Johnny. You know what I mean? He's just gonna flame on and set your ass on fire. But if you think of him as more acrobatic, yeah, this figure can do that too.